Hey guys, I'm Will from Tested.
And I'm Norm from Tested.
Wow, you pointed the camera. That's new, Norm. I'm all messed up. We're going to talk about watches today.
Specifically, a new watch from that came out from LG. It's the LG G Watch. It runs Google's Android, the Android Wear platform.
Yeah, so this is one of the watches that I/O attendees had the choice of getting. Did you pick this one? Why did you pick this one?
It's actually the more expensive. Right now, there are 2 Android Wear watches available. We only bought the LG one. The Samsung also has one, the Gear Live.
But functionally, they should be the same, right?
Yes, functionally, they're almost exactly the same. Samsung's additional heartbeat monitor feature the LG one doesn't have, but it's more expensive, the LG one, actually.
So we both used the Pebble Steel for a while now.
Yes, so I'll show you right now. This is the Pebble Steel, and you can watch a review we did a month ago. And I liked it. It's surprising. The takeaways to the Pebble Steel is that having something that primarily functions as a watch on your wrist, but also can tap into things like music playback and get notifications is handy.
It's basically just that slide down pane on your phone for notifications with a watch attached.
Right.
But the Google Watch, the Google Wear platform is a little more capable, I guess is what I would call it.
And when we reviewed the Pebble Steel, we said what we really wish this had was the ability to tap into something like Google Now, the power of all of that processing and all that data that Google has. And so that's what this watch does.
Okay, Google.
Nope, the microphone is a little close. So there's a microphone built in. I'll show you, this is the LG G Watch right now.
So what does this do, Norm?
So it basically is Google Now on your wrist. So if you have my phone here, I'm going to actually launch Google Now and make sure it's not showing anything that I can't show. Okay, there it goes. But yeah, this is Google Now on my phone, and if you have, if you have an iPhone, you have Google Now. If you have an Android, it's built in, so it shows you what Google thinks is important to you. Like, for example, stocks, where you parked your car recently. That's where we recently dropped off
the truck.
And then, I think that's all that's important to you right now. These two things.
Okay, and is that stuff going to be on the watch too?
And that stuff is on the watch.
Is it all of that stuff, or just a subset?
Exactly that stuff. So as you see, I have stocks and a parking location. I have stocks, and I pull down. A parking location. Yep. And light traffic, a little more here. So, but it's basically the same design where you have these cards on Google Now show you what Google thinks is the context based on what you search, for example. If you tie your phone, on Android phone, to your Google account, if you, for example, search a movie title name, it'll show you movie show times.
Or if, like, I searched for Neil Gaiman once, and now every time Neil Gaiman does something, it pops up on Google Now for me.
And that stuff then pops up also on your watch.
So the Steel is a, it's kind of like a display for notifications, but it's not a standalone device. Is the Wear, does it connect directly, does it run Android? Is it actually connecting directly to the internet, or is it just a terminal for displaying stuff?
So all the Google Wear devices, LG's G Watch and Samsung's Galaxy Gear, and the Motorola has a circular one coming out. These all require pairing to a phone. The only connection this has to anything else in the outside world is over Bluetooth Low Energy, which I guess they call it Bluetooth Smart.
Is it both Bluetooth? It's probably Bluetooth Low Energy and regular Bluetooth,
Bluetooth Low Energy only.
Really, that's it? Okay.
Yes, so only devices have Bluetooth Low Energy. But it is a fully capable, in terms of the actual hardware, it's an Android device. There's a Snapdragon, in this one, Snapdragon processor, 1.2 gigahertz. There's 512 megabytes of RAM, and there's even 4 gigs of storage, which I'm not exactly sure what you would store on here, because everything's being piped. But it does need, without pairing it to an Android phone and connecting it to the Android Wear program, there's nothing really you can do. You can look at the time, and that's it.
It's a watch.
It's a watch.
Okay.
The Pebble Steel display is the biggest difference. So when we look at design, the Pebble Steel actually looks a little sleeker, and I'm actually really happy with the design of this Pebble Steel. Well, initially I thought it was boxy. This LG one
on your wrist, it feels pretty good.
Yeah. But compared to the LG, this thing is really boxy.
The LG reminds me a lot more of the original Pebble, which was just a plastic box with a wristband through it, basically.
You can't change out these wristbands. They're fixed wristbands.
Oh, you can't?
Nope. Cannot change out the wristbands. Nope. Okay. You can't change them out. And this screen is an LCD. So Samsung's Galaxy Live watch, or Gear Live watch, is an AMOLED, and it's a slightly higher resolution display. This is a 280 by 280 LCD.
It's changing. So it's going from color to black and white. Is that because of it thinks that it's light, or is this the power savings mode?
This is, so this is their always on mode. This watch, the screen never completely turns off unless it runs out of power.
But that's good. I don't want to wait for the watch to turn on when I look at the clock.
And that is good. And in that mode, so if we wait a few seconds, it will actually turn inverse the colors and be black, so it uses, I guess, less of the backlight.
Okay.
There it goes. So this is in its dormant mode. The moment you even move it or lift it up, it then activates it and it uses a little bit more power.
So what? Okay, so you get Google Now cards. Will it interface with apps on your phone?
It does. So I'll load up my phone and I will show you on the Android Wear app. So here is the Android Wear app, and then you can set your timers. You can set stuff here, and then you can browse compatible apps.
Oh, it has an accelerometer,
yes.
so of course it has a pedometer.
So browse compatible apps. In the Play Store, these are currently the apps that support Android Wear. Now, these aren't apps like on the Pebble that you download to the watch. Like, these aren't small versions of the app. These are just Android apps that also then have notifications that are smarter.
So it works like Runkeeper works that way on Pebble. Like if you're using Runkeeper to track your like runs or walks, then the Pebble just automatically, you don't have to install anything on the Pebble just automatically displays more pertinent information right on your wrist.
Right, so you have things like for the Philips Hue, you can turn on Hue control, so you can turn off or on your LED lights, Google Keep for notes, and things
Tinder?
like
Why
Tinder,
would you not Tinder on the
Pinterest,
on the thing? Yeah,
and Hangouts and Uber is actually not on here, but it actually does support like notifications from things like Uber. So let me show you what happens exactly. So here's the watch. I'm wearing it, and if I want to just look at the time, I can look at the time.
Is that the only clock you can use?
Nope, I can hold it, and then I can tap. I actually like this one a lot, but let's swap to something.
Cool. I like the little one.
Let's go through. Let's go through the
variations on a theme here.
Aviator.
Okay.
There's no.
Are there more of these?
No, there's no way to download new ones yet.
Oh, bummer.
But they do come with a lot. This is the stock one, and the backgrounds can be context sensitive.
Was it difficult getting Wear to work? I know with the I/O versions of the watch, people had problems, but is the software better now?
It's much better now.
Okay.
So let's change it something that looks like more of a traditional watch face. Here's the Aviator one. All right. Okay. So actually, I think this is pretty ugly.
That's pretty bad.
So you have your watch face. You know what? I'm going to change it. I can't bear looking at this one. Design is very important. Let's go with dashboard.
That one's okay.
All right, this one looks okay.
Okay.
All right, a little more futuristic.
Yeah.
And it's a full color LCD. It's very responsive because it has that 1.2 gigahertz processor in there. So some things that when Samsung had the original Galaxy watches, people complained about was that the animations weren't smooth. This is full, I think 60 FPS animation, so you have bump, like things like that.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It looks nice.
If you swipe down, it shows you the time in the battery. I've been using it since this morning. It's about 11 o'clock right now. It's already 82%.
In fairness, the battery's going to get hit more while we're doing this video because you're going to use it a lot more than you would now.
And we'll talk about battery in depth in a second. So I can actually pull this down to mute it. Like, for example, if I pull this all the way down, it mutes, and that's fine. So notifications, text messages, emails don't pop up.
Does that prevent it from like waking up when you move your wrist?
It doesn't, because it's still things that you want to be able to look at the time. So one case is that I brought this into a movie theater, and if I held my wrist still, it would be low light, it would be dim like this.
Right.
But the second I even went to grab a drink, it would pop up real bright.
Well, but so you could theoretically put a watch face on that's a little more discreet than the multicolor bright one.
But it's still an LCD and still pretty bright. I mean, then I would have to change my watch face. It's just not smart enough to know that,
you can't put it in. You can put it in quiet mode, but you can't put it in dim mode.
It's not like a phone where you can put it in the quote-unquote sleep mode where the screen is completely off.
So you just end up taking it off and putting it in your pocket?
I just took off the watch and put it in my pocket.
That's a disappointment. Does this this has a vibration mechanism as well, right?
Absolutely. Okay. And actually, one of the things I've noticed is from using both the Pebble Steel and this watch is I respond much better to vibrations on my wrist when I'm wearing around than having a phone in my pocket. I miss calls and miss text messages all the time because you have that phantom vibration feel. You don't know whether you're actually getting a phone call. And you know what? With the phone that I'm using right now that's pretty big, now I can keep this in a shoulder bag.
You can put it in your purse.
I put it in a backpack.
Yeah.
Like walking around Comic-Con, I had this in my
your clutch.
I had it in my camera bag.
Exactly.
And I could actually look at all my text messages and read emails. You can read full-length emails, and you can respond. So I'd like to do a demo.
Okay. Demo.
So why don't you?
Can we send you a text?
You can send me a text message and an email.
Google Hangout.
Yeah. I'm going to unmute it, so I'm actually going to get it, and I'll show you the other things. I'll tell the people what other features there are. Now, as you notice, Google Now, if you've used Google Now, there are a ton of features. it shows movie time. Oh, there it goes. I just swiped it away. Send me another text message. But I can only access one of them right now because this is what Google thinks I want to see, like directions to the sandwich place and some stocks. If I want to see...
Wait, did you sandwich?
Well, a taco shop. But if I want to see like my agenda or something, I have to manually activate it, and I can't actually... Oh, there it goes. Don't be hating, a text message.
Okay.
I'm going to respond to you.
Google Hangout, actually.
And it's a Hangout. I will actually respond to you in just 1 second.
Okay.
But I can't set a fixed list of all like the 5 most important things I always want at the top. If I want, say, I always want traffic, and then I always want stocks, and I always want my calendar, and then I want my, my pedometer steps. I can't have that as a fixed list anywhere, or even in that order.
That's kind of not the way Google Now works, though.
It's not.
Google Now knows what's important for you, and if you don't think that what Google Now thinks is important, then you can go right to hell.
That's right. I mean, you can manually activate things. For example, for pedometers, I can actually tap, and I can do 2 things. I can go to the Google Now area, and I can go actually swipe down and say, show me my steps. So show me my steps. I'll tap that. And today, I've walked 2,000.
That's a pretty good amount of walking for this time of morning.
Now, the other thing about the pedometer is that we know that wristband-based pedometers are not nearly as accurate as the hip ones. And we had a good place to test this at Comic-Con last week. So I was walking around every day.
50,000 steps.
I would say like 25,000 steps, and be consistently inaccurate. I think that at some point, like one day, it gave me 10,000 steps by 10 a.m. in the morning.
At some point, I should. So the thing I found is that the pedometer built into the iPhone 5S is actually quite accurate because you live in your pants pocket. So
yes.
It's a little sketchy when you get in the car and you bounce around a little bit. But for the most part, it's much better than the one on the wrist. Right. Any of the ones on the wrist I've tested.
And the way you use pedometers, you should never use them as a a fixed metric of 10,000 steps.
It's just relative.
It's all relative. It's whether I got as much walking today as I did yesterday. So let's go back to that text message. The watch is now in dim mode, so it says Will Smith because it thinks that it's either sent a message or an email. And I can actually swipe up, and it has your picture in the background because that's tied to your Google account. All right, so I can actually swipe over, and I can respond. And here I can actually read the entire history of messages so far.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And I can swipe over, and I can actually reply with Hangouts. And I can also open on my phone, and it will launch it on the phone. But let's say reply with Hangouts.
That open on the phone thing's really nice because that's one of my complaints about the Pebble is that when you see the notification here, you still have to go unlock the phone, navigate to the app that had the notification, and it's like 3 or 4 steps depending on the application.
It's an extra layer
actually kind of nice
of convenience.
Yeah.
And now I can respond in one of 2 ways. Also, I can give you a generic message, so I can I'll show you the yes, no, okay, he, I agree. On my way. Let me get back to you.
There's a lot of these.
And then a few emoticons. No punctuation. I don't think anyone says okay without punctuation. It's okay, exclamation mark.
I never use exclamation marks. That's
exclamation mark. I will say, let me get back to you.
I'm not talking to teenage girls, Norm.
All right, and then you actually get it. I can cancel it. So actually, it's sent because I didn't tap cancel fast enough.
Okay. I haven't gotten any. Oh, there it is. Let me get back to you later. It says, there's a comma in there. It says, okay, comma.
Now send me another text message.
Okay. When is this is a great video.
You know what? I'm just going to give you a quick demo. I'll say, okay, Google, send Will Smith a text message. What are you doing right now? And hopefully it doesn't show your phone number. Nope. That was a fast cut.
That was nice work, Joey.
And the text message is now sent.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Let's see if you get it.
There you go. I just got it.
There you go. You got
and my smartwatch went off, too.
And your smartwatch also went off. So you can actually use Google Now to respond to text messages and even emails. The great thing is if you forward me an email, like a long email, I can actually read the entire email on the watch.
Will it read it out loud, or you mean by scrolling?
By scrolling.
Okay.
So you can actually scroll.
That seems like it's kind of good, but the number of times I'm actually going to do that are pretty slim.
Now, when you're in an event like CES or Comic-Con,
fair enough.
I was reading entire emails on my watch because the last thing I want to do was take the phone out.
Well, if my phone was that big, I wouldn't want to take it out either.
And then you can also respond to emails also with the voice or with generic messages.
And how? I mean, I assume it's the same amount of good as Google Voice usually is.
Yeah. So it will only get better. And you got to enunciate, but you do have the option of canceling your message if that's not exactly the same message.
Can you kind of edit? Does it give you the things that it thinks are questionable, like iOS does, where you can? Okay.
You just cancel and have to resend.
Okay.
I had an entire, I would say, 15 back and forth messages response while driving using just voice.
Were you responding to me with your voice from your smarts?
I was talking to Frank Ippolito.
Okay.
Extremely distracting.
Oh.
Do not do that. It is if you have your hands on the steering wheel and you're going, okay, Google, send Frank a response. No, I can't do that. That is ill-advised.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm
amazed. Oh no, don't send Frank a message. That's the other thing.
This is the problem. Yeah. Is when you have one of these watches, people walk up to you on the street and just go, "Okay, Google, duck pornography," and then
nope. It doesn't, unlike the Moto X, doesn't recognize your voice. It doesn't train to recognize your voice. It does, however, require that you either talk really loud or put the microphone is right there. So you have
Dick Tracy style, right?
Yeah, you have to put it up to your mouth.
That's what I would expect. That's what I want. I don't want to be able to do it from across the room. I want to, okay, Google.
Now, many of the features are kind of hidden. The way you get to them is you tap the screen. So I can show you, just tap the screen right here. And then if you swipe down instead of asking Google, you can do take a note, set a reminder. These are all the things that Google Now
These are the things you can tell Google Now to do, right?
And navigate, and I'll just give you a demo of that in a second. Start smartwatch, and then you can actually swipe one more, I believe. Oh, I have to go all the way back up. Swipe one more. Start. There it goes. And you can actually launch some other features as well.
Oh, these are like hidden apps. Basically.
Yeah.
What's that? True Control?
The Hue Control. That's my
Hue
light
Control. So these are the apps you've installed on the phone.
Yeah, these are kind of the phone native apps that run here and here.
Does the watch have a magnetometer in it? It must.
There's a compass. Yep, and you can calibrate.
Huh.
So you do the figure 8 movement.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
But it's really good for the things that you would normally pull out your phone to ask Google.
So I found even with the Pebble, the navigation was pretty good. Just because I'm getting the Google or Apple Maps navigation pop-ups on my phone, they come to the watch and it usually gives me enough to know, be in the right lane to turn right in 2 miles. Turn right now, get onto 280 south, blah, blah, blah. Is the navigation better? Do you get like little pictures of the map and stuff like that?
The small picture of the map is useless.
Okay.
You don't get the 3D view of the map.
Like what I want is the lane guidance.
You don't have the lane guidance. You do have the notifications for the next turn is in 5 miles and your trip estimate.
Are those just normal notifications though, or is it a special thing that you get with the nav?
It's basically a normal notification. Okay. But I can, for example, go okay Google, give me directions to Fenton's Ice Cream in Berkeley.
And is it good with? Do you have to know the specific code phrases? Or
well, I've kind of trained my, and so this is that overview that I'm talking about in the back. That says 10 miles.
Useless, you're right.
The map is absolutely useless. It'll calculate the route, which it does on my phone, and it'll actually then pop up my phone to give me.
That seamless handoff is super useful.
Yeah. So having the phone in the car, and then here are the instructions. So for example, they'll give you that type of the next turn, and if you swipe, then you get the total destination.
Oh, but it won't show you the turn after the next turn. No. Oh, that bums me out.
And you can't tap it and say, give me the next one.
Yeah.
And you can't tap it to say, I'm done with this direction. This is very handy for long road trips because it will update.
Yeah, well, you can can you do generic stuff like show me the next gas station?
I don't know if you can do show me the next gas station. It's whatever you can do with Google Now. I didn't actually do show me the next gas station. But you can say look for food, for example.
Okay.
But I mean, navigation is just an extension of what your phone can do.
You're already doing with your phone, yeah.
You of course have music playback. So if, for example, I launch Spotify on here.
Does Spotify work with it?
It does. So I will, let's say, shuffle I was playing a comedy album, and then so this is like totally the road trip. Here it goes. Use case, and you can pause it. Or choose next album.
This is stuff you can do with the Pebble as well. This is just using the normal playback controls like you would have on a headset or a Bluetooth dongle or something like that.
The thing you can't do is that you can't launch directly into a song.
So you can't say, okay, Google. Well, if you use Google Music, I bet you can.
Yeah, so you can say, okay, Google, open Instagram. And it's thinking. And of course, it's all based on your internet connection.
Right.
And so what it'll do is, well, it's opening the app Instagram. That took a while, and that's because I maybe don't have that great of cell phone reception.
Can you?
So it'll open, and then open on phone. It won't actually pop on the phone.
Just when you turn on the phone next to the thing that's on the front?
And now it's on Instagram.
Oh, that's good. Can you try getting it to play like songs by The National?
It won't do that. It won't do that. Not with Spotify.
I know, not with Spotify.
Okay, Google. Play songs by The National.
So you have to use
a lot of thinking.
You have to use their service.
Open on phone. You know what? I think it did. And
I think it's going to do the Play Store.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my question. Siri's the same way on iOS.
And then you can cancel your navigation here as well.
Okay, so there's a lot of fancy stuff here. There's a bright touch screen. How does it work outside?
Not very well at all. This is an LCD screen. I can show you right now. This is actually on the lowest brightness because we're indoors, but the viewing angles are not good.
Viewing angles don't matter because you hold it up to your face like this, and that's how you look at your watch. I'm actually okay. I kind of think bad viewing angles might even be a good thing on a watch because I don't want people looking at my notifications.
Sure.
However,
outdoor in
bright light viewing,
in bright light in full daytime, San Diego, almost unreadable.
Yeah. I mean, this is worst case time of year for that here in San Francisco right now. But still, I noticed with that the Pebble is eminently readable outside.
Yeah. So this is based on similar e-ink technology.
E-paper.
E-paper. It's like a smart LCD, and this you can read in any light.
And there's no brightness settings.
There's no brightness setting, and they added a small backlight to light it up at night, which you manually tap, or you can use the
if you move your wrist,
the accelerometer on. Yeah. This is like the opposite, and you get the advantage of a higher frame rate and full color display, but I don't really need the color. Right. I'd rather have the longer battery life, the 3 to 5 days, than this. Now, battery life with this 400 milliamp battery is terrible. It's 1 day at most. Did
you run out of battery at the end of days while you were at Comic-Con?
So I'm very happy with this phone because of the high capacity battery. This phone lasts longer than the watch battery.
Well, I would expect that, but kind of, I guess.
9 p.m. it died. Yeah, and that's
on the party day.
No. I recharged it that night. But for driving back, when using navigation, and when I was getting a stream of emails, done by 9 p.m.
Oh, that sucks.
And you can't say, for example, when it's at 20%, I just turn off everything. I just want to use it as a watch, because at some point you just want to be able to see the time.
Can you disconnect Bluetooth?
You can. Oh. You can go to the settings. I'll show you right now. Your OK Google, and then your settings, or everything is kind of obscure. There's not great documentation about this. And the settings, and you can adjust your brightness. So this is your lowest brightness, and this is the highest brightness.
What was that? Well, that's blown out because of the cameras, but.
And so I set it to lowest.
What was that always on screen?
There it goes. Always on screen is the flip off. So let me turn that off, and then
you can put it in airplane mode.
I guess you can put it in airplane mode, and power off, and then you can reset it, but that's it.
Wow. I mean, it seems promising, but the thing. Like, I found the battery life on the Pebble to be kind of crappy at 5 days. I can't, or 4 days realistically.
And this is a charge once every day. Now, the charging for the LG version is much better, from what I hear, than the Samsung charger. The Samsung charger, you have to use this fiddling. This comes with a dock.
Are there just like 0-point contacts on the back?
Yeah. So there are contacts here. There's contacts here, and actually, and you just. Snaps on like that.
Okay, Google, duck porn.
Nope.
It's funny every time.
Now, one of the reasons that not only is this a capacitive dock, and you can see that dock.
Just for a second.
It's actually water resistant. It's certified IP67, 6 meaning for dust resistance. It is the highest rating. It's sealed completely, so you don't expect to see dust particles get inside that screen, and I haven't seen any dust particles.
You can totally change the band, by the way. You can put a leather band on if you wanted. It's just a 22mm band, it looks like. It's not the 2 fingers one, it's just a straight across one. But anyway, sorry.
And then the rated 7 for water, so it can actually be submerged in water, so you can actually wash your hands and have no problem washing your hands with this.
And a few minutes at a couple meters?
Yeah, basically. It's 1 meter
for 30 minutes.
Yes. So that's good, but battery life, is the worst part.
The battery life, I don't know how you do a microphone on the waterproof watch. Also, that's interesting.
Yeah. The upshot is that this is very much a first-generation device. We paid to review it. I would not spend $230. I wouldn't spend $200 for this functionality. I think
let them get lower power, more battery life.
But using both the Pebble Steel and using an Android Wear watch, you can really see the benefits. There are some benefits of not having to take this out of your pocket, and the convenience of getting things like messages immediately and the direct tie-in to Google Now services.
So the thing to me that all the smartwatch manufacturers are messing up on, and it could just be because of battery size limitations and the power consumption of the devices, is that it seems like these would be much better marketed to women who are likely carrying a phone in their purse and frequently miss calls or have to have a loud, annoying ringtone on so they can hear the phone ring from the purse. And like my wife, I know, would love to have. Most women I've shown the watches to say, "Hey, does that come in a woman's size?"
Right.
Because it's like this is the dudiest watch I've ever owned. It's a big metal thing, and I mean, my wife's not going to wear that. So.
And these are, in that sense, this is clearly a first-generation device. And actually, I want to go back and show you that settings that. The always on screen,
right
it actually does. It does turn off the screen if you turn this off.
Oh, it does.
So
you do. Yeah. That's going to increase your battery life.
That will increase your battery life.
The thing I want to see. Like, I think that these are going to get interesting when they get the hardware to the point that they start increasing the diversity of the designs. So when we see LG making 15 different watches, or even better, Fossil or someone like that making watches that are powered by LG rather than a big plastic hunk of plastic like that thing.
And you can see the upgrade path. You can easily see how they have a roadmap for 3 years to 5 years.
Yeah.
Battery, screen, ergonomics, features like heart rate
and then
sensors,
aesthetics at the end,
and then a wide range of aesthetics.
Yeah.
The big hump is battery, and no manufacturer has announced an Android Wear watch that doesn't have an LCD or some type of active bright screen. And
they're all touchscreen based,
and they're all touchscreen. I actually prefer the buttons often. I think the touchscreen is useful for like scrolling email, but I really like the haptic feedback of having.
I mean, they're both two-hand devices because one hand is holding the watch and.
Well, I did occasionally do as I'm driving the. I'm swiping.
Oh, no finger nose. Nose finger.
Nose finger.
Nose finger. Oh, gross.
Okay, Google.
Gross.
Oh, no, swipe that way. No, don't send that text message.
Yeah. Okay, so it's $200, $300.
$230 for the LG, $200 for the Samsung, and Motorola has their circular watch coming out later this year.
Your recommendation: hold off.
Hold off.
One more generation,
I would say,
maybe two.
Yeah, hold off and see what Apple has to announce later this year. If you're on iOS,
if you feel like you have to get something, you can get a basic Pebble for $150.
Yeah,
it's a little ugly, but I don't think it's any uglier than that.
And it's far lighter too. 2.2 ounces, 1.97, and the original Pebble. I believe
the weight on the watch.
This one's fine. This weight is. I mean, I'm used to it now.
It's too heavy.
But ergonomically, it's not that great.
Cool. Well, so that'll do it for us today. We'll see you guys next time. I'm Will.
I'm Norm.
Bye.